Now, regular viewers to our channel will know that this year in the Med we had a bit of a heat wave. And to help with that, we did a bit of testing with portable air conditioning units. And that was a big success. So we thought we'd try and find the best portable air conditioning unit around. And this might possibly be it. It's the EcoFlow Wave 2. It's a bit of a beast, this one. It's not too heavy. It does have a battery that goes underneath, which will make it heavier. We'll look at that in a minute. But it really is a performer, and it's a proper heat pump. It can be used in reverse, so it can actually give you heating as well as cooling, and really efficiently as well. So if you think of a 1 kilowatt fan heater, it doesn't deliver that much heat. This will deliver more with much less energy because it's just much more efficient in the way that it works. Likewise with the cooling aspect of it, this is about the same as those units that you put in your window, those big units that you'll find in offices and apartments and all sorts of stuff. I know figures don't mean much to most of us, but if you're into that, it's 5,100 BTUs of cooling, 6,100 BTUs of heating. That is actually really good for something this size. It's incredible. So what does it come with? It comes with different hoses, because you're going to need different configurations to use this depending on how you're going to use it. We'll try a couple of different configurations here, but it's quite nice because it neatly stacks. The ends come off this. I've got one of the cowls clipped to the top here already. They just sort of come off and on, clip on and off nice and easily. But yeah, this is quite nice for storage on the boat that they can come like that. So remember, if you've got it inside, as we are at the moment, it works as two separate systems. So you've got an airflow which needs to come through this side. So if I have it inside, I'll be attaching both of these two hoses onto here, and then putting it through one of the hatches or portholes with both of them, so air can come in, cool the plate inside and be expelled. The hot air can be expelled, and then on the other side you don't really need the extra hose on here. It can just look after itself. It just spits out the cold air out here, and it's going to suck in air from this. If you wanted to have it at a bit of a distance, you've got something you can clip on here as well to route the cool air to where you want it. So that all works really well. It's got a really nice LED display up here. Very easy to use, different functions on here. So if you press that, it goes to cooling. You'll see actually a little blue light comes on when it goes to cooling. And then if I hit it again, the function goes to heating, that goes red. And then I can just have it in a fan mode as well if I want to. So you can also get readouts obviously on here of what temperature you've got that this is actually giving out at the moment, and the ambient temperature, and it'll give the run time that's left if you've got the battery on. This one over here is for the fan, so I can turn the fan up full there as well. But far cooler than that, you've actually got an app you can control it with now, because all the EcoFlow units come with an app. It's this one here. I'll put it up on the screen so you can see it. If I press it and we hit the on button, it'll turn back on and instantly gives you all the readings directly on here. So yeah, we can put the fan up to maximum. Let's put it down just to minimum there. Put it on cooling. Sure you want to switch mode? Yes. And it's tell you what temperature here. You can set it to what temperature you want it to be. It's saying the ambient temperature at the moment 27.8. So yeah, it'll take a while well, we won't be able to do it because I've got all the hatches open, but we will test this later. I'll put it in the sleeping cabin and we'll give it a go there. But yeah, this is great, because certainly for something like an air conditioning unit, which you might want to use in bed, you don't have to. I'll probably have this outside. I don't want to have to get up and go outside if it's getting too much and turn it off. I can have this by the side of my bed and I can just play with it, turn it off, turn it on, change the settings, do whatever I want. It's got a timer as well, so you can set the timer before you go to sleep. Let's just turn this off so it's not making a noise right next to me here. It's quite quiet actually. We'll do a little test for noise as well. But yeah, so that'll be switching itself off now. It takes a little while to run down when it's in its air conditioning mode. But yeah, I think that's a really cool addition to this. So let's just have a little look at what power settings we've got on this as well, because it's part of the EcoFlow system. It has this plug, the XT150, which plugs into any of the external sources. So this is out of one of my EcoFlows here. I can plug that directly into here, and I'll take the shore power out. We're actually on the hard at the moment with the boat, so we're not at anchor, so I was using that off of mains, but now I've got it off So off this EcoFlow unit down here, so we'll be able to see what it's drawing off that as well, which will be quite useful, I think. So let's turn it back on now, and you can see it is running off that. And look at the top here, it'll tell you how long it can run. Now it's on a battery, 6 hours it thinks. Obviously it's going to work out what it is once it settles down, how much cooling it's got to do. And if we look down here, at the moment that's drawing 190 watts. Obviously not a spare test at the moment because everything's open, but we will do one in the cabin, as I say, in a minute. But let's have a look at the other way of powering this. If I just unplug this, I can show you the special thing that this unit has, which is this. It's its own battery, and this is it's a big one. It's 1 kilowatt hour, so it's the same size as an EcoFlow Delta. You run it for a fair while, and it just slots on underneath it. So if we just move this over, put this around the right way, and it will just slot on top and click into place. So it's all pretty good. It's got a little USB and a USB-C output as well, which might be useful if you're using it camping, that sort of thing. You know, we've got loads of them on the boat, but always useful to have more. So you can have a look on here as well, see how much power you've got in it. This one's about half full at the moment. And this can charge up in many different ways as well. So obviously it can charge up through mains. This has changed. This port here, I've seen on some of the early ones, on some of the tests I looked at, this had a kettle plug for the mains plug, which actually I would have preferred, because at the moment, you know, I've got this lead hanging around which sort of gets in the way, and I'm not really going to use it on the boat. I'd always use it on the DC supplies if I can. So if you want to run it off the battery, you just use the little link piece here, just push it into both, and now, you know, it will run off its own battery. And this is all nicely sealed. The whole thing's waterproof, so you can put it out on deck if that's the way that you want to do it, and just have the cool air being taken into the cabin rather than having it inside. But if it is inside, it's got quite a neat little unit in that it doesn't always have to drain the excess water out through a drain plug onto the floor. I mean, it has got a pipe that comes with it, so you can do that. But really, it's only if the humidity is really high that's absolutely necessary. It's got a splash sort of tray underneath it, and all the water goes down into there and then gets pushed back up and put back into the air, so it's taken away, it's taken out. So, you know, it will do it that way and cope with most things. But if it's too humid, then yes, you can plug this in, but it'll store a certain amount. There's a little level on the gauge up here and on the app that shows you how full it is, and you can just plug this in and drain it off onto something if you wanted to. So yeah, quite a good thing for having inside. The other thing that comes with it, which is quite useful, is this. So it's you can use it just as a template to cut some holes in something, or it could just be used in itself in a window somewhere, sort of shut in. Yeah, we'll probably make something for one of our hatches, I think. As I say, I'll have a play and see what I think is the best way of using this, and then we'll see how efficient it is. Okay, so I've come up with a bit of a jury rig for the air conditioning unit. I've got it outside, and I've got the hose going in actually where one of the derades used to go. I've just taken the derade off and taped it up in that hole, so I can quite easily make a proper little connection in there. It's probably easier than trying to put something in the hatch itself. And I've just blocked the other derade off completely. Oh, I did find this as well. I was talking about the kettle plug the other day, which isn't there anymore. They have got this bit of plastic that clips in to keep the cable in there a little bit better. Still would have preferred the kettle plug. I think got rid of it completely. Oh, and this grate comes off quite easily there as well. You might not be able to see it, but it's got a very fine mesh in there, which is very good. So it catches all the bugs and bits and pieces. It clips back in there. So yeah, let's go down below and have a look at, see how hot it is in there, and turn this on, because I can do it remotely, and see how we do. It's been going for less than an hour, but I just thought this was interesting because I came in and it feels really cool in here. It's actually only dropped by a couple of degrees. If I put the chart up here, you see temperature hasn't dropped that much yet. I mean, you can feel really cool air coming through there, but if I actually then look at the humidity, that's really fallen down. So it's come down from 70% humidity to 48.7% humidity. So yeah, that's dropped, which is probably why it feels so good in here. But yeah, I would have expected maybe a higher temperature drop than a humidity drop. I mean, partly because actually you've got things like these louvers at the bottom of the doors here, so it's not a completely sealed room, this. So and I thought actually in a really humid environment it might be better to have that inside, so that it's it's recirculating its own air and just taking more humidity out quicker, because that's what it would do if it was in here, just recirculating that air as it is. But yeah, I mean, it's done a good job in a short space of time. It actually feels really nice in here. It's just not what I expected. So let's just put this up on screen as well, so you can see what's happening. So the 16 degrees is it's me turning it right down to say try and get down to 16 degrees. Obviously it's nowhere near that in yet, so it's not sort of turning off yet. It's saying that the outlet temperature is 8.8 degrees, so that's what's coming out of here, and it certainly feels very cold, so that's fine. But it's not rushing through. I mean, that's the other thing, is that I think I might be restricting it a little bit with going through that derade. So I think I might try it tomorrow in the having it in here, and probably just put it inside in the aft heads in here. I can put it actually in the sort of shower area and feed it through to here. Just call this whole area and see how that works by comparison. But yeah, that's it's quite interesting. The other thing on here, actually, just while we're there, that little bucket bit is saying that the bucket is the water is full. It's taken quite a lot of humidity out of the air, and that's because it is set, if I go around to here, to where is it, automatic drain. If I press on that, it's on free drain, drain free at the moment, so it's actually keeping the water in there. So I'll go and put the hose on and put it on external drain, and it'll just drain that away. Actually brought it inside now, because you might be able to see, for me, I'm actually sweating. It's got hotter and hotter. It's a really hot afternoon, and I want it cool in here, and I think this is going to be the best option. You can see I've got the two pipes now on the outlet side of the heat exchanger here, so yeah, it's just sort of circulating the air through there, getting rid of all the hot air, chucking out really cold air there, and it will recirculate that as well. So I think it'll bring it down quicker, the temperature, and probably the humidity as well in here. But yeah, we'll see. Okay, well, I didn't have to wait long. It's only been about half an hour, but in here now it's positively cool, so this is definitely the more efficient way to work it, I think. This outlet hose is quite hot, so it might be good to try and mount it somewhere where that's as short as possible, but freezing cold air coming out of there, so that's all very good. And already in here the temperature is down to 22 degrees, so what's that, 71 I think Fahrenheit. So yeah, it's coming down really quite quickly as well, dropping like a stone. So I mean, I wouldn't need to keep it on this maximum mode. I mean, obviously, I don't know if you can hear the noise it's making here. I mean, when it was outside you couldn't actually hear whether it was on or off, just the air coming through there, but I think it does need to be inside, but not at this high mode. I mean, what I would do is have it on like this, I think, for an hour or two before bedtime, and then turn it down. So let's have a look. I'm actually powering this through the little delta at the moment, so that I can see what it's drawing. You can see it's 248 watts at the moment. That's at its maximum. So let's go back to the wave and put it on manual. It's doing some interesting flashing, but surprisingly the power hasn't changed much. 246, it went sort of down and up, went down to about 230 at one stage, still there, so that didn't seem to make much difference. So let's go into one of the eco modes, shall we, and see what that does. I think probably the aircon is what takes the whole thing, the compressor, so turning the fan down isn't going to do much to it. So let's go into sleep mode, and I'll set it to 22 degrees on sleep mode and see what that does. Let's go back to it. Delta 2. There's a few odd vibrating noises from time to time when it changes mode. It might take a little while again to do something. Let's see. Is it still doing its flashing? No, it's on a solid light now. No, it's not. It's going down and up. So yeah, even in sleep mode it's still holding on there, 239 watts. I think that's it's basically that's what it takes to use the compressor. So as soon as it gets down to its temperature that it just needs to cycle through, it'll go down. So we'll just wait and see if it gets to that, because it is dropping the whole time, what happens. Let me have a look where it's at now. I'll just turn the temperature up a tiny bit to see if it says okay. Yeah, so that little click then, I turned it up a little bit and it's now gone into its little bit of a sleep. What's it drawing now? 17 watts. So virtually nothing, just the fan going because the compressor's not going, and it'll just cycle through now. So it looks like it's sort of going to cycle between, you know, virtually nothing, 17 watts and 240 watts to try and maintain the temperature. So it sort of depends on how much it needs to cycle, I suppose, to keep it at that sort of temperature. But having got down here with it all, I mean, we're fairly well insulated in a boat. It's not like being in a tent or a car even that's not, you know, it's not that well insulated. I think it should, you know, it shouldn't have to cycle on and off too much. So we'll see. I'll keep it going, and I'll have another little report in the morning, and we'll have a look at how long it takes to charge the battery as well, because I've ran the battery on the air conditioner all the way down now completely. So I'll just stick that into the solar and see if we can sort of sustain this by just charging it through a little fold out panel on the deck during the day, and then using the aircon at night, because that would be the ideal thing, really. Okay, final test then. I've got the solar panel out on deck. It's a 400 watt solar panel. It's going to get a shadow that's going to go all the way across it, but can't help that. And it is October, the beginning of October, so it's not going to be obviously full capacity, but it's realistic, so we'll see what it does. I'm just hoping, I'll put that through so we can plug it in, hoping that it will charge in a day, so we can you know, in any sort of conditions, get it charged up in one day on deck and use it at night if we need to. Let's see. Okay, let's get this plugged in. It did do well last night. I did get a little puddle of water on the floor though. I should have had the hose in. I thought it wasn't humid enough to get any, but it did have some condensation that just spilled over. So just watch out for that. You can see one little light flashing now to say that it started to charge. It is completely dead. Ran it all the way down last night. It is 11 minutes past 11. So we'll have a look and see how long it takes to fully charge it with a little fold out panel. Okay, so as you can see, it is now fully charged. I'm afraid I missed the exact time. I've been outside working on the boat and I just came inside and it was done, but you can see it's 12 minutes past 4, so sometime within that time it's charged it fully, which is great because it means you can just have a panel on deck, charge it during the day, use it at night, and it's self-sustaining. And this is October in Portugal, so where we're going in the Caribbean, it should be absolutely fine. So yeah, looking forward to some nice cool nights in the tropics.